Well, you guys already know I like to keep it positive on the channel, focus on the bright side, talk about the good stuff that's going on with Sonic and Sega. But once again, we are back with another Sega delisting games video. And as much as I like to stay optimistic, I gotta keep it real with you guys. This kinda sucks. The other day, I saw pretty much the only reason I keep a Twitter account, Wario64 tweet this out, mentioning that Sonic CD and Sonic 4 Episode 2 have now reached end of service. And you might be thinking, well, what does that really mean? Does it just mean they're not going to be maintaining the leaderboards anymore? Well, yeah, but a couple more reasons include support for future hardware and software, new updates, and more importantly, delistings. Let's start with the first point. This is the most obvious one, but support for the games are going to be discontinued, which means that the devs, probably a skeleton crew, that are still working on maintaining these games are no longer going to be updating them or patching them with future hardware or software in mind. As an example, we won't see things like updating the resolutions of these apps to accommodate for newer phones and their screen sizes, or potentially even worse. For example, let's say you guys have some really old iOS apps that are still associated with your Apple ID. Have you noticed that when you go to re-download those apps, it won't even let you do that on modern phones? Well, that's because those apps were made on 32-bit architecture, and current-day phones run on 64-bit architecture. So due to the hardware incompatibility, it won't even let you download them to test them out. And that could definitely be a possibility, which means that Sonic CD and Sonic 4 Episode 2 could definitely meet the same fate in the future. Granted, that's probably a long ways away. I don't think we're ever going to increase from 64-bit for at least another decade. I don't think there's any reason to, but who knows? In terms of the other stuff I mentioned, like content updates, I mean, these are old games. I definitely didn't think that we're going to get new content to begin with anyways, so who cares? The real concern is with the delistings, because how are they going to handle this? In case you guys didn't know, initially Sonic CD was actually a paid iOS app, like you actually had to pay for it in order to be able to play it. Then eventually it went free permanently with ads, and you could remove those ads for about $1.99, I think? I don't know, it's been a while. Forgot the exact numbers. But the problem with when it went free to play is because you didn't have the ad version, you couldn't actually play it in offline mode, I think. Because you needed to be able to load the ads just to be able to play it. At least that's what I got from this Reddit post 9 years ago, so take it with a grain of salt. We don't know when exactly these games are going to be delisted yet, it just says that it's going to be happening soon. But the question that I have is, will you still be able to play these games offline even if you never bought the ad-free versions? I think the answer is still yes, and the reason for that is because in the actual notice that you get when booting up Sonic CD, for example, it says that you can continue playing offline. I couldn't test this on my main phone since I actually bought the ad-free version a long time ago, so I asked my brother, who's not a Sonic fan, to join the cult for one day, download the app and see how it goes. We booted it up, we turned off data, we turned off Wi-Fi, and it still worked. And the interesting part is the menu didn't even have an option to upgrade to an ad-free version, so I don't even think it's possible to do that anymore. And in that case, I think as long as you download the apps at least once, like Sonic CD or Sonic 4 Episode 2, it's going to be tied to your Apple account or Google Play account, and you could always just go back through your purchase history, re-download them, and hopefully you should still be able to continue playing, even after they delist the games. So far, I've only talked about these two games, but more and more games are actually reaching end of service. A couple of years ago, back near the end of 2023, SegaBits put out an article talking about how a bunch of Sega games were being delisted from the Google Play Store and iOS App Store. They also make a joke about Sega Forever. You guys remember Sega Forever? Dude, it was awesome. It sucks because they took all those Sega games and they made them all free with ads. That way you didn't have to buy these games, you could actually try them out. It was a decent way to get introduced to these games. So at the time they delisted Rise Star Classic, Kid Chameleon Classic, Phantasy Star Classics, including Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4, Vector Man Classic, Decap Attack Classic, Gunstar Heroes Classic, Dynamite Heady Classic, The Revenge of Shinobi Classic, Comic Zone Classic, E-SWAT City Under Siege Classic, Beyond Oasis Classic, Altered Beast Classic, Space Harrier 2 Classic, and Afterburner Climax. But they mentioned that one was delisted some time ago. But at the time, these games were safe. Up until today, where pretty much all of these apps are going to be delisted, except for Sonic 1 Classic and Sonic 2 Classic. They're like Neo in the Matrix, bro. They just keep dodging these bullets. So like I said, you guys have to download these games as soon as possible before they go away forever. Download Sonic CD Classic, Sonic 4 Episode 2, Crazy Taxi Classic, Streets of Rage 2 Classic, Streets of Rage Classic, Golden Axe Classics, including Golden Axe 2, and Golden Axe 3, Super Monkey Ball Sakura Edition, Shining Force Classics including Shining in the Darkness, Shining Force and Shining Force 2, and Virtua Tennis Challenge. I'm not sure about Sonic 4 Episode 1, but I'd download that just to be safe as well. On screen right now, you'll see I went to the App Store, downloaded all these games for the first time, and yeah, every single one of them are now showing this end of support message. Crazy Taxi hurts me the most because I'm actually a huge fan of that game, so that sucks. On the bright side, a lot of these games are available in other places, like Sonic CDs now in Sonic Origins, the exact same port, the Christian Whitehead one, so you're in good hands there. Some games are kind of harder to find, like Crazy Taxi, especially after the delisting recently, although I did make a video about that and tell you guys to download it beforehand, so hopefully I saved you guys at least. A lot of these other games are just Genesis titles, and the good news is, a lot of the collections, like the Mega Drive Classics, those are physical copies, so you can still find them out in the wild and play it through that. But yeah, it always sucks. It always sucks to see games get delisted. But the question now is, why are these games getting delisted, and why now? Well, I mean, it seems like this is just the second wave of what was initially started back in 2023. These games are getting to be really old and might start costing more to maintain, and so maybe it just isn't worth keeping them up. The writer in the SegaBits article thinks it failed because people weren't really interested in playing retro classics on mobile devices, even with controller support. He also mentioned because some of these games are on Steam, Nintendo Switch, and Genesis Minis, maybe people would want to play on those instead, which makes sense. But if we want to get all tinfoil hat here, maybe this could also be gearing up towards the release of an eventual Sega subscription service where you pay a monthly fee to be able to play these games. I could definitely see that happening, especially with the creation of Sega accounts, which they did recently as well. I'm sure those are going to come into play at some point. I'm really not sure when, but yeah, I've said this before. Personally speaking, I've never really been a fan of subscription services. I think more and more these days, we're starting to own less and less in general when it comes to just everything in life. Like, I'm not even just talking gaming at this point. And because of the general ubiquity of subscription services in so many aspects of our lives, I wouldn't even fully blame them if they took that route just because everyone else is. Again, nothing is really confirmed here. They haven't actually outright said we are going to make a subscription service. As of right now, that is still just pure speculation. I don't think this wave of delistings is even related to that. I think this is purely these games are really old. We don't really want to maintain them. Not many people are even playing them anyways, so it's fine, which makes sense. I didn't even know half these games were on the App Store anyways, and even if I did, I'd probably still find a way to play them on consoles first. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Massive shout out to all the channel members, man. You guys are insane. We got Pack Sonic Gaming, Mr. Needlemouse, Hashim Ali, Speeder Light, Stifigener, James, Nostalgia Addict, Goku Black, MLM0130 The Tunes Maker, and Neon Flick. If you'd like to become a channel member, be sure to hit that join button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.